everyone. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome to my channel. This is a channel about cross stitch and crafting and all the things, but mostly cross stitch. My name is Cameron. I go by Cam the Stitcher here on Flosstube and on Instagram. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm here to talk about cross stitch. And also, yes, I changed my hair. And I'm in my Tumblr like 2011, 2012 era. Sometimes you just see a video of a hair transformation on TikTok and you can't stop thinking about it and you have to do it. And I did it and it's done. And I don't know if it's gonna look like this the next time you see me because blue is not my like favorite color, but I just, yeah. But this is not a channel about my hair, so I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna get right into it. So I have some whips for you. I have a little bit of haul and then lots of book talk at the end of the video. So I'm going to show you some whips, but these are also finishes for now. So the first one is the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery's Stitch Along the Halloween Wreath. I have been keeping up with this throughout the year. I think we're on like part 8 or not. I can't remember what part, but we're getting towards the end. So I wanted to show you my May portion is done. So last time I showed this to you, I had that green bat done. So this time we moved up to this cool cauldron and that little pumpkin lollipop situation. Super cute. I like the subtleness of like the pattern on the cauldron. But yeah, this is almost like we're getting there. Probably only a few more parts of stitching, and then the last part is just finishing instructions on how to finish this into a pillow. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, that's where I'm at. And I'm stitching this with all the kit supplies, which was all the called for DMC and then the 28 count linen, I think by Picture This Plus in pewter or something like that. But it's the called for, basically, the end of that story. So yeah, so that is a finish for now. My next finish for now is I was a monogamous stitcher, y'all. For like over a week, I was working on this stitch along. It is the Lola cross stitch greenhouse Oddities SAL. And if you're not familiar with Lola cross stitch, they did the Haunted Library stitch along that I have finished right here last year, and they release a frame and you have a month to stitch that. So they released that in April, and their frame is a little bit different. Like, so last year they just did the staircase with lots of little bits missing. So you could kind of see like silhouettes of where things were going to be released, but you don't know what it is. So the same thing this year. And I finished that frame literally not last night, but the night before. So this is where I'm at. It's gorgeous. So I'm stitching this on 32 count Timberwolf by Seraphim. And my fabric choice is probably a little bit darker than some others you've been seeing on Instagram or the Facebook group if you follow. But I did a floss toss when I picked this fabric and I like it. I don't see that there's really any like clashing colors or anything. Like this grayish color, I think it pops enough for me. Like it's subtle, but you can still definitely see it. So, and let me zoom in here. And I'm going to show you my little mole man. I've named him Mort, and he has a 401k, and he is very concerned with the economy. And that is Mort. And then we've got our frog over here. And, you know, I've not named him yet, I'll be honest, but he does not have a 401k. And he's less concerned about the economy, more concerned about the population of insects in his area. And that's how I feel about that. But yeah, so you can see like there's silhouettes of things that will eventually go in here with the releases at the bottom there. And then you can see there's like gappage in this. So you know things are gonna be stitched there eventually. And I really like the way that she does her frames. I think it's super unique. So this is done and I'm very happy with it. I did see that someone on the Facebook group added a bunch of crows, like additional crows than there are here, which I thought was a really cute idea. So but yeah, if you want to check out what everyone's doing, I would say that Facebook page or the hashtag on Instagram. I think it's Greenhouse of Oddities SAL on Instagram. So I would follow that as well. That is that. So now we'll move on to whips that are not finished for now. I only have, I think, 3 whips for you. So I will start with my hashtag Manny May SAL start. This was a hashtag started by me, Megan from the Seattle Stitcher, Bridget from the Museum Stitcher, and Marjorie from Marjorie Made Stitches. And we've had lots of people join and stitching along and starting along, and it's been super, super fun to see everybody over there. So yeah, it's the hashtag Manny May SAL. So I think last time I showed you my progress, and I've gotten a bit more progress on it now. So I've been stitching this in hand, which is rare for me. I usually stitch in a hoop on a Lowry stand by my couch, but I've been keeping this by my desk and kind of working on it in between things or like at meetings where I don't really have to pay that much attention. I don't have to actively participate. So I've been stitching this in hand and it's been super fun. So I think last time I showed it to you, I think I had this portion done, but I've kind of branched out a little bit more. I'm 41% done with this. So that is cool. And this is stitched on some scrap Aida that I had dyed. It's either 16 or 18 count, I'm not sure. But I'm liking the way that the stitches, even though it's full coverage, I'm liking the way it's laying on this pink fabric. I want to make this into a biscornu, so I want a little bit of the fabric to show once I fully finish this. We'll see how that goes, but you know. But yeah, these are my DMC colors. They're very like bold / pastel Eastery colors. But this is so cute. I am very tempted to do all of the Tentmakers. This is the April Tentmaker. I'm sure I popped a picture up, but there's a Tentmaker for every month and they're all really unique and cool. This one I just really liked the look of, but I know the February one is super cute. It's very like Valentine's Day themed. And like I'll definitely want to do like my birthday month probably next and things like that, September. But yeah, they're all really cute. So that is my progress on that. And then where shall I go next? I'll show you this one real quick because I didn't get that much progress on it, but I did want to show you all. So last video I talked about a secret project that is only secret to one person that doesn't watch this channel because they live with me and he hears me talk all the time. So my partner Connor, our 4-year anniversary is coming up at the end of October. So I bought this pattern to stitch for our anniversary. This is Reaping Love by Silver Creek Samplers. And I was inspired by Elizabeth from Frizzy Lizzy Stitches. She had just finished this and showed her fully finished object on her last video, I believe. So if you want to head over there and check hers out, it's very cute. So I am stitching this on 20 count Aida by Fiber on a Whim and the colorway Cocoa. So, and I am stitching with the called for DMC and then I subbed out the 2 overdyes, but I haven't gotten that far anyways. So this is where I'm at. It feels like, I know it's not that much progress from last time, but like those stitches are so tiny. So I've got the little hood of him almost done. But yeah, I'm also stitching this in hand with 1 strand of floss over 1 square of 20 count, and it's very cool. I'm very much enjoying it. I think, so I'm going out of town later this week, which is why I'm filming super early, and this video will get to you super early, but I am going to bring this because Connor will not be with me, and I'm gonna stitch on this while I'm away, and he'll never know. But yeah, so that is Reaping Love. And then my last whip that I have to show you. This is one of my whip go calls for the month of May. It's one of my small whip go calls. I have 2 whip go boards. One is for bigger projects and one is for smaller projects. And this one is my smaller project one. All is relative to what it is absolutely up to my whim of what goes on each one. But this is a pattern by Birds of a Feather. This is called Lost Spirits. I got this from 123 Stitch a long time ago, like I think in the very beginning of 2022. I bought this. I bought it kitted with the called for, and I'm using up that stash. So yeah, that's all I'll say about that. But this is so cute. So if you've watched this channel before, you know that I actually just finished a couple videos ago the Birds of a Feather Beware of Cat pattern. So I'm very motivated to get this done. I don't know if I'm gonna get it done this month, but basically like all of this is gonna go really fast, and I know that, and I'm gonna get that done probably today. But then I know I'm gonna hit this portion and I'm gonna be like, Cameron, what were you thinking that you could get this done? But anyways, I will show you where I'm at, and I'll show you where I was at last time you saw this. But this is where, hold up. This is where I'm at now. So I think the last time I showed it to you, I literally just had like part of this section done and a couple of the stars done. So I worked on this yesterday and stitched the moon, these letters, and then these 2 bats, which are very cute. I'm stitching the bats in just DMC 310 because I don't think I'll have enough of the called for, and I'm not repurchasing this floss. So I went ahead and was like, you know what? I'm just going to use DMC on those. But yeah, I am really enjoying stitching on this. This is 32 count. It's Weigart linen, and I think it's literally called Dirty. It's Weigart Dirty linen in 32 count. I am stitching this with 2 strands, which is eating up the floss, which is fine as long as I don't run out of any of it. I want to use it up anyways, and then yeah. But yeah, so this is very cute. I'm very happy with it. And yeah, that's it for whips. So one thing I will mention before I get to my haul. Last week I did announce my giveaway winners for my 1,000 subscribers giveaway. And I've only had one person reach out to me for the Beware of Cat pattern. So I am trying to head to the post office today to get this in the mail to you. But the other winner I have not heard from, but I will give it another 2 weeks until my next video. If I don't hear from that person, then I will redraw for that and announce that winner on my video. And then I also replied to that person's comment. So yeah, so I will wait another 2 weeks for that, just to let you all know. All right, haul. This is a very quick haul. So first I'll just go through my Color and Cotton Floss Thread Club for May. Very, it's looking patriotic. I'm not complaining. They're really pretty colors. So the first one is this really pretty like light silvery gray color. So this is great stash builder there. And then this one's called Memorial, and it's a really light blue. It's very blown out. In video, it looks white, but it is just the smallest hint of blue. This one is called Old Glory. I feel like this is a good, like, denim blue to have in stash. This one is called Shining Sea. A really nice navy-ish blue. Not too dark. And then this is Valor Red. Matches my earrings actually perfectly. So yeah, so that is my Color and Cotton thread club for May. And then I made an order with Abby from topknotstitcher.com. And okay, so I am on a no buy, other than like the monthly clubs that I get. But well, one of these orders is from like 2 months ago. It was a pre-order that I just got. But one of these was a purchase at the beginning of this month, but for good reason. But this is the only purchase I have made, I promise. So the first things I'll show you are the things that I pre-ordered a while ago. This is the Next to Snowmen and the Snowman Collector series from Cottage Garden Samplings. So this one is number 5, and this is the Scarecrow. And I mean, come on. Yeah, love it. I did get one of the called for overdyes because it was Classic Colorworks, and this is called Queen Bee, and I believe that's like, I don't know, his scarf and whatnot in the hay. So I did get that. I'll be subbing out the other overdyed, which is his hat and stuff. I don't know. I might pull from stash or find something when I start this. And then I got number 6 in the Snowman series. This one's super cute. So this is the first one that's not like vertical. This is horizontal, and this is called the Gardener. So, I love the colors on this. And this is so wacky and cute, and I love that like whimsical butterfly. And I love this flower right here in this one too. So anyways, so I got this, and this calls for a Classic Colorworks that I already have, I believe, in stash. So that's fantastic. So I didn't have to buy that. And then while I was pre-ordering that, I had also thrown in a ornament cut of a 36 count fiber on a whim fabric in parchment. Because I'm stitching all of those individually on different colors of 36 count linen. So this is parchment, which literally is perfect. So the called for fabric on all of these is 36 count chocolate milk linen by Fabrics by Stephanie. But like, you can see that's like literally perfect. I might put Mr. Scarecrow Man on this one just because I think this color is like definitely his vibe. But yeah, I think I can definitely fit actually 2 snowmen on here, the vertical ones. So I actually may do that. But yeah, so I got those. And then the other thing that I actually purchased this month on my no buy was Away We Ride by Blackbird Designs. So this has been on my wish list for quite a while, but I just like I can't purchase all the patterns. So it had been sitting on my wish list, and then I think it had kind of made its rounds again of like, I think it was Stephanie from oh my god, I can't think right now. Just Keep Stitching. It was Stephanie from Just Keep Stitching was working on this whip a few months ago, and then that way, like, people started asking about it, and then Stephanie at the same time that everyone else kind of figured it out, found out that this was actually just recently out of print. And so I was like, dang it, because it had been on my wish list and like I didn't buy it because you can't predict the future of what patterns are just gonna suddenly go out of print. So I was like, oh, and you know, just the pangs of FOMO were just, you know, getting to me. But then Abby from Abby Topknot, she announced that I had seen that she that these were coming back. This and several other Blackbird charts that were just recently out of print or have been out of print are coming back into print. So it was a very short period of time this was out of print, but basically she was getting some and I was like, well, I'm not letting that happen again. So I purchased it. But I think it was only like $8 from what I understand. And like, I don't know, it wasn't that bad, but this is really cute. It calls for all gentle arts threads. I think that I have a couple of stash. So I have Vampish by Roxy Floss Co. That would be perfect for Gentle Arts Onyx. So that I will go ahead and just use that. And then these two, I think there's like a gold-ish color and then like an orangey color. And so these are from just my Color and Cotton stash. So I think I'll just use those. And then I might get some of the called for as well, or just pull from stash when I start this. But yeah, so I got that. But that was my only slip up, guys, I promise. Not that it really matters. This is just for me. I did get, if you watched my video last week, I told you I had a quick little cute emergency root canal situation. But I actually went back and got my permanent crown and more fillings, and no root canal was needed on that portion of my mouth. So whoop-de-doo. So I have one more round of getting some fillings on the other side of my mouth, and it's gonna be a lot of money, so I'm still doing a no-buy. I'm also going to the beach in June, and so any money that I am spending would be for like food at the beach, or whatever I need for that. So suntan lotion, whatnot. But yeah, so good news, and also I'm fine now. It was a little traumatic, but we're over it. But yeah, so that is all for my stitching. I made this really quick, and now I'm gonna jump into books. So if you are not interested in book talk, you can exit the video and I will see you in 2 weeks. But if you're interested in book talk, I have quite a bit to talk about, but I am gonna make it quick because I can't be sitting here forever. But anyways, so books. First book I finished a bunch of, last time I filmed, I had a bunch of books in progress that I was like close to finishing, but not quite. And so basically they all dominoed and now I have a bunch to talk about. But the first book I went ahead and finished was Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail. I listened to this on Audible. I did like a free trial and got 3 credits and then canceled my membership before they could charge me, because I'm not gonna pay. And anywho, so I finished this book. I had previously read Delilah Green Doesn't Care, which is the first book in this series. And I've talked about that on my channel, but basically Astrid Parker was the sequel, and it is basically a woman loves woman romance. And Astrid Parker is Delilah Green's stepsister, and so this is kind of continuation of the last book, but it's focusing on Astrid and her love story. And obviously, like, she meets a woman named Jordan who is like into carpentry and making like different things like furniture and cabinets and things for houses, and they embark on this journey of redoing Jordan's family's historic inn. And there's lots of drama and romance and flirting and tension, and it's a little bit spicy. I will say, now that I've read some spicier books, these books aren't like on the scale of mild to like extremely spicy. These are medium to mild. They're not like too explicit, but they're really cute and like very quick like reads. I don't know. It's a nice break from some of the more intense books that I read, like crime stuff or whatever, or thrillers. So it was really cute, but yeah. The next book that I finished that I had actually read a few months ago, but then my library loan expired before I could finish like literally 2 chapters. And so I had to wait for that to come back to me. I'd put it on hold again. This is called Home After Dark by Riley Sager. And I've really been enjoying Riley Sager books. I think they're like super fun, like supernatural, haunted, paranormal type of books that I really enjoy. And this one actually reminded me a lot of the show Haunting of Hill House, not the book. But basically the main character, her parents bought this like really old house when she was like little, and 5 years old or something like that. And they start noticing things, and there's some like dark history that has to do with the house. And essentially you're kind of going back in time with her as a child and like following her dad and stuff and what he's discovering. And then you're going back to the present where she's a grown woman. Her father has passed away, and she's trying to find out from her mother, and going to this house and trying to figure out what actually happened in her childhood. Why did they leave? Because basically, like similar to Haunting of Hill House, they left in the middle of the night, left all their belongings. And yeah, and there's a missing person involved, and there's like historic murdery, suicide things happening, and just kind of connecting all those dots. And it was actually a really good twist at the end. I really enjoyed just the overall like ambiance of the book, because I love a haunted house. And yeah, it was a very interesting story. But yeah, actually highly recommend if you're into that type of storyline. Very much recommend it. But yes. And then I finished Dracula, which I had actually started last summer. So I finally finished Dracula by Bram Stoker. Honestly, it was pretty good. I won't lie. I think like if I'm talking like from a literary like analysis situation, if I'm pulling my English degree back out, I enjoyed Frankenstein. I know that these two books are obviously very different and written by very different people, but you think about like the major monster books of that time, Dracula and Frankenstein are right here, right? So I did enjoy Frankenstein a lot more. I think there was a lot more to like sift through in Frankenstein, like analysis wise and themes wise and whatnot. But Dracula was definitely a really interesting. It was cool to like, I guess it was cool to read the book that like has inspired all of these films. And you know, if we're gonna really talk about like vampire films and we're gonna think about the best vampire films that have ever been made, we're gonna have to talk about Twilight, guys. We're gonna have to go back to 2008 and we're gonna have to talk about Twilight. Anyways, no, I'm kidding. But yeah, it was good. Like, I honestly, if I'm being real, if you want to just skip reading Dracula, just watch the Bram Stoker's Dracula with Gary Oldman in it and Winona Ryder and Keanu Reeves. Just go watch that. That's all you need to do. Honestly, like, you don't need to read the book. And that's coming from an English major. I just like go watch that movie. It's so much better. I'm biased. I love Gary Oldman and Winona Ryder and Keanu Reeves. So, but that movie's super good. Anyway, so yeah, so that was that. Then I read How to Sell a Haunted House. So this has been on my list for a bit. I did read by the same author I read not too long ago. What was it called? Oh my God. It was like the vampire, like guide to like book club Vampire Slay or something. And that, I really enjoyed that book. I think I talked about it. It was like 90s, like moms, hunting a vampire and like figuring that out. But this one was a brother and sister. Their parents died in a tragic accident and they have to sell the house. And then they go to the house and you find out that their mom was like really into making puppets, and weird things start to happen, and the brother's kind of suspicious and the sister has like a lot of things going on in her life. And so the book is definitely covering like grief in a way, through like this weird story about a haunted house that manifests in dolls, puppets, whatever. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really enjoy this book that much. Like, I had high hopes for it, but I think the whole puppet thing took me out of it. I'll be real. But saying that, if you enjoyed Goosebumps as a kid, you would probably enjoy this book. Like, I love Goosebumps, but I think one of my least favorite Goosebumps storyline is the marionette puppet, like ventriloquist doll guy. That's like one of my least favorite stories of Goosebumps. And this was like, to me, that's what this reminded me of. It was just, I just don't care for puppets, I think. I think I'm just like not into puppets, guys. But yeah, so it was interesting, like, but I think I gave it like 3 stars. I just wasn't that impressed. Okay, then I read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo because I had finished Daisy Jones a couple weeks ago. And everyone and their mom was like, well, you have to read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And I had heard a synopsis of it and I was like, all right, that sounds cool, right? So it's about this Hollywood star back in the 50s, 60s, like super famous. I would say it is majorly inspired by Elizabeth Taylor. Elizabeth Taylor, in real life, she had, I think, about 7 husbands. I think I checked. I think she was married 8 times, but she got married twice to the same person. So I think she had 7 husbands. I could be wrong. You can check me on it. But basically, Evelyn Hugo is that type of idol, that character. And it's same kind of, a little bit the same style as Daisy Jones, where it's interview style, where you're hearing it from Evelyn Hugo herself. This journalist is there to get her story, right? And the journalist was like handpicked by Evelyn Hugo, and so there's a little bit more insight and background. You kind of are introduced to the journalist first, whereas like Daisy Jones, you don't know who the person interviewing them is until the end. And I kind of, I guess, liked that more, but then I also understand why Evelyn Hugo was set up a different way for the storyline. I totally get it. All that to say, I think if this was too hyped up for me, and I think I enjoyed it, and it was a good book, but if I had read Daisy Jones after this one, maybe I would feel differently. But like, yeah, Daisy Jones was way better, way more my vibe, more of a story I'm interested in. This one was just like, it had some twists and turns, do not get me wrong. I did enjoy those. I wasn't expecting like kind of where the story went, and you know, because she talks about all of her marriages and her coming up into Hollywood and everything, and it was a really interesting story. But saying that, it was very good, but I was in my head still comparing. I was like, this isn't as good as Daisy Jones. Oh. But yeah, so I finished that literally yesterday. So yeah. Now, I saved this one for last. I did read this, I think, like a week ago or so, but this is called The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. And I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible, but holy crap. I loved this book so much. and it is not a typical choice for me. This is like kind of a, I don't even know how to categorize this book, but it's not necessarily romance, but it's also not necessarily not romance, and it's also a little bit, it's like fantasy, a little bit of like historical fiction, period piece type of beat in there. And I don't know how to talk about it, but all I have to say is this book made me cry, and a book has not made me cry since I was in high school, I think. I don't know, like, it just hit me that basically the main character, Addie LaRue, she was born in the 1700s in France, and she is, you know, like a lot of women back then, forced to marry a man, because that's really the only options you had back then, is you had to marry a man to have a roof over your head, and you had to have kids with them, and then you die. And that's the cycle of life, right? So she had avoided it as long as possible. Her sister was already married off and had kids, and so she avoided it. But then it came to a point where they picked a person, they were like, you have to marry this man. And so out of desperation, she runs into the woods and prays to the gods. But the god that answers her, she had not noticed the sun had gone down and it was after dark. And so the god that answered her was only a god that came out after dark, essentially, is what we're gonna, I guess, equate this to. And basically she made a deal. And this is all like on this, I'm sure, the back of the book, not a spoiler alert, but she made a deal with this entity, and the entity, of course, wants her soul in return for whatever she wants. That's how he makes deals. And she said that she wanted to basically have freedom to do whatever she wanted, and she wanted to live forever. She didn't want to put like a deadline on this, right? And so he's like, I'm not going to do that. Like, what's in it for me? And she said, when I'm done, when I've done everything I want to do, I will give up my soul to you. Like, I will be done. I'll let you know. I'll give you a ring. And so for some reason, he takes this deal. But she wakes up in the woods and goes to her family, and she opens the door of her house, and her parents are just in the kitchen, like making food or whatever. And they look at her and they're like, who are you? And she's like, huh? She's like, I'm your daughter. Like, what the hell? And they're like, get out of my house. We don't know who you are. Like, you're like, what do you need? Are you hungry? Like, just like chewing her out of the house. And then she goes to her sister's house. Same thing happens. She goes to this other family friend's house, her aunt or whoever, I don't remember. Nobody remembers her. So basically the storyline is that she meets people. She can make this connection with a person, right? She can spend the entire day with them. She can sleep with them. And then as soon as they close the door or they fall asleep and it's the next morning, they don't remember anything about her. They don't remember her, like, she can't say her name to them anyways. So she's never able to say her real name. So she just has to like make up a name. And then like she'll sleep with a person and then they'll wake up the next morning and she's in their bed or she's in the kitchen or whatever. And they're like, did I like drink too much last night? Or like, I don't remember you. I'm so sorry. I don't know your name. Like, and they don't remember anything from the night before. They don't remember anything about her. And so essentially what that has caused is she has to start over every day. Like, when you think about the logistics, you can't buy a house, like you can't rent it, like you can't get a hotel room, because as soon as you can make a purchase and she closes that door, that person has forgotten who she is and that she exists. And so like that room's gonna be seen as like vacant and open, right? So like she can't, it's like so tragic. But like this entity's like, I've given you full freedom. Like nobody remember, like it does kind of give her this freedom, but it is so lonely and empty and chaotic. And it was just so good. It was so heartbreakingly good. And essentially, and this is on the back of the book too, but essentially one day she goes into a bookshop and she steals this copy of the Odyssey, and you know, the guy goes after her and she's like, sorry, like whatever, because she knows he's not going to remember. Well, then she goes back the next day to steal another copy of a different book, and he's like, hey, you can't do that. I told you yesterday. And she's like, huh? And like, she's like not understanding, and she thinks, oh, this, like, he must think I'm somebody else. Like maybe somebody else stole a book yesterday. And he's like, yeah, you stole that copy of the Odyssey and I let you keep it. Like, this isn't a library. You can't do that. Like I saw you do this yesterday. Why are you coming back? Like, that's stupid. And she's like, you saw me yesterday? Like, and so anyways, this kind of unravels into this whole thing, and it's not what you think it is, but you kind of, I don't know. It's so good. And I cried. I wept at the end of that book. It is so good. But anyways, so that is all. I did not do that fast at all. That is it for book talk. That is it for cross stitching. That is it from me today. Yeah, thank you guys for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing. If you're not subscribed, please do so. It just, you know, helps me out, and it shows you that I've posted another video. And yeah, like the video too. If you're any of those books I talked about, if you've read them, please comment down below. I'm interested to, like, for some of them, I know, like Evelyn Hugo, I know a lot of people love that book, but I'm interested to hear some feedback on that. And then How to Sell a Haunted House. I want to hear the tea of what people actually think about that book, because I'm just not a puppets gal, I think. But yeah, but also if any of you have read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, please comment down below and tell me if you also cried or if I'm just a sensitive gal. But anyways, that is it for me today. I will see you guys in 2 weeks with more stitching and definitely more books. But yeah, bye guys.